Great. So with that, let's get into the agenda here, what we're going to talk about. Before we do that, sorry, I'd like to just add the information and resources here for you. Laura Ramage is the contact for the Eastern region. So if you're in the Eastern region, she'll be your contact, and her contact information is there on the screen, lramage@lizardtech.com, her office and cell number there. I'll get back to that again later on if we need it. And then here we have regional contacts for other parts of the world. I know there are a lot of people joining from all over, so here we have the Western and Canada manager is Jeannie Hayes, and her email's on the screen, as well as the federal management, Terry Ryan and Ryan Burley. Their information is up there, and we can always come back to these pages, give you their contact information anytime if you have questions. In the meantime, if you do have questions at any time, I've muted the phone lines for now, and we're just going to have everyone put their questions in the chat panel of WebEx, and you should be able to ask your questions there. Otherwise, you know, if you have any questions later on, we'll have a question and answer session at the end. But if you do want to ask a question now, feel free to write it in the chat there, and we'll get to it. So our agenda for today is we're going to talk about MrSID, what's changed in MrSID, then we'll just briefly show off our latest product offerings there, GeoExpress, Express Server, LIDAR Compressor, as well as our viewer, GeoViewer, and then we'll go into Q&A. So without further ado, let's just start talking about MrSID here. So we have, over the years, we introduced MrSID back in 1997. That was the first commercial version of MrSID. And for those of you that aren't familiar, MrSID is basically it offers image compression, very efficient image compression, 20 times smaller, visually lossless image compression, and as well as a very fast access to the imagery that you're working with. And Laura, I believe you were in the industry at that time when MrSID first came out. What was the sentiment like back at that time when MrSID was first released?
I was. It was in early 2000, and there was a lot of excitement over the technology. It was quickly adopted as the standard and really an instant standard in the industry.
Yeah, I recall that it had a huge boom in adoption, and it was very quickly adopted there. And basically, you know, for those of you that are unfamiliar with it, like I said, it allows a very high compression ratio while also having a visually lossless quality to the imagery. Like you could look at the two side by side and not realize which one's the compressed one, which one's the original. And that was kind of existent in MG2, but in Generation 3, we increased, we built upon that and made it so that we added support for lossless compression as well, unlimited file sizes. The initial version of MrSID had limited file sizes up to 2 gigabytes. And Generation 3 offered unlimited file sizes, and then we added this image manipulation features that would allow you to further compress an image or to color balance, create mosaics and things like that. And so that added a lot of new features. But now we're on MrSID Generation 4. We came out with that back in 2009, and it's now widely adopted in the industry. It not only supports images, but also, you know, not only RGB images, but multispectral images as well as LIDAR data. So we have MG4 point clouds as well for LIDAR data. So yeah, MG4 is the kind of format where, you know, it offers a great compression, but there's no decompression needed. It's supported directly inside of geospatial applications, all the major ones out there. The point clouds of MG4 are 4 to 12 times smaller. The image is about 20 times smaller. They're visually lossless. You can't tell the difference. They're fast. You can pan and zoom these images. Even no matter how large they are, if it's a whole county, for example, it just loads right up. You could pan and zoom very quickly. Same thing with the LIDAR data, pan and zoom billions of points quickly. Doesn't matter. These MG4s are hyperspectral. They're multispectral. They're unlimited sizes, unlimited size mosaics. Pretty powerful image format and LIDAR format. So that's where MrSID is today. It's widely supported, and here is the software that creates MrSID, GeoExpress. GeoExpress has been around for a long time now. We're on the latest version, is GeoExpress 9, released just last year at the Esri User Conference. We released that, and it's been a great release. We've made it a lot smarter, a lot faster. We've really cut down on the different buttons and things like that you need to find. And Laura, you've probably seen a lot of different versions of GeoExpress over the years, and I just wonder what's the biggest change you've noticed in GeoExpress through the years?
I think it's become just so much easier to use and just way more powerful. We've been hearing from clients who are so impressed by how fast they can process their imagery. Extremely large jobs that used to run overnight finish in just a few hours now. So I think that's one of the key, plus some ease of use.
Yeah, I've gotten similar feedback too. I mean, people have been telling me, because I work in technical integrations and stuff like that, and folks have been telling me, they're just wowed by when they get the software and they install it. Just from the previous version, it's multi-threaded. I mean, this is what's making it faster here. It's multi-threaded. It's multi-core. So it's going to use all the processors on the machine to get the jobs done. Even if you're just doing one large job, it's going to use the cores on your machine to do that job. If you're doing multiple jobs, it'll do multiple jobs at the same time. And the other thing that it does is it automatically chooses the most efficient process for your desired output. So like, let's say you're using, you want to just crop out a section from a MrSID file that's a whole county, you want to crop out a section of that, or maybe it's a whole state, you want to crop out a county. It's going to do that job quickly for you without you having to specify anything else other than that you want to crop. And in previous versions of GeoExpress, there were a few more steps to go through to make that process faster. Otherwise, you might make a mistake and it might end up going slower. So GeoExpress 9 really takes all the guesswork out of things, just automatically chooses that most efficient process, uses all the cores. It's efficient. The design has changed. It's a lot smarter. And in fact, I have it up here. I'm going to just share it with you. Go into a quick demo here of GeoExpress. All right, so here's GeoExpress. I've got it open here. There's a lot of different features in GeoExpress. It's not just compressing to MrSID or to JPEG 2000, although that's its main function, is to give you access to those formats to convert your imagery to MG4 or to JPEG 2000. But it also has a lot of other things. You can do unlimited size mosaics. You could do multispectral encoding, reprojection, cropping, color balancing. You can compress per band. So there's a number of different features here. And just to show you an example here, here I've got a mosaic. This particular mosaic, doesn't look, you can see the tiles. You can see that it needs some color balancing. In the process of compressing this, I can actually hit the color balance button there and just say, all right, do some vignette correction there, because there's vignetting from the camera. You see the darker edges and lighter edges on one side, darker edges on the other. It corrects for that. I check the box for seam line correction, and it gets rid of those seams as well. I can do uniform corrections, and I can say, match all tiles to each other and do that. That way, I can do individual tiles. I can drag the histogram. And then suddenly I've got a nicer looking mosaic than I had before. And all that is made possible here. When you first load up a job, you'll see that there's only two buttons available. You can either add the images individually, or you can add them as a mosaic. And then these other buttons are grayed out so as not to confuse you. And then, of course, if you select your jobs, then these other buttons are available for you. And they include to edit the metadata, to despeckle an image, to crop out part of an image, color balancing, reprojection, choosing an area of interest, and changing the compression ratio for that. But overall now, it's just a fast processing tool that helps you create and generate MrSID and JPEG 2000 files very quickly. and gives you a lot of options, but makes the smartest choices for you compared to previous versions that gave you a ton of choices up front and a ton of different things that might have been confusing at first. We've really streamlined the operation and given you something smooth and efficient here. So again, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to type them in the chat. I will be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'm just going to move quickly through and go from one thing to the next. Let's get back to the PowerPoint really quick. That's GeoExpress in a nutshell, GeoExpress 9. So a really fast, efficient way to generate unlimited MrSID, JPEG 2000, and as well as a lot of image manipulation features, cropping, color balancing, reprojection, mosaicing, things like that. So that's GeoExpress 9. And now on to a really exciting release here. We just released Express Server 9 yesterday. We were on version 8 before. We are now on version 9, and this includes a wonderful new application called ExpressZip, which makes it so that when you install Express Server, you immediately have access to your full catalogs and can present those in a beautiful way, have it so that people can crop out portions of those and have it zipped up, and they can download cropped portions from your entire petabyte collection, or terabyte collection, whatever the case may be. And this is another product that's kind of been around for a long time. And Laura, you probably have some input on this. I'm just curious, what features of this new version of Express Server really stand out to you? What stood out to you here?
Well, I think again the ease of use, and as the amount of time investment has come way down. It can be stood up in less than 30 minutes. So people who want to implement it or even test it, we offer a full demo of it on our website. It's easy to stand up and it's easy to administer. I think the new administration website is fantastic, and the clip, zip, and ship capability is something that the industry's a standard in the industry now.
Yeah, and this product, the way it's changed, and let me just show it off here. Let me just pull up while we're talking about it here. I'm going to show off the new ExpressZip application as well as some other stuff here. So this is ExpressZip. I've got open here. I'll close down a few tabs here. But so this is ExpressZip. This is brand new with Express Server 9. And when you install Express Server, you automatically get this web application installed with it. Now, of course, you can create any web application you like. You can even customize this one to your needs and make it look how you want it to look and behave how you want it to behave. But it's there as a starting point, and it's actually, right out of the box, ready to use. Now, just before we go into this even more, Express Server, just for those who don't know, is an open standard image server. It supports WMS, it supports JPIP, you can serve MrSID, JPEG 2000, NIDIF, you can serve even geospatial PDF files. And it's supported everywhere, web applications, desktop applications like Esri's ArcMap and our own GeoViewer, mobile applications. We have mobile applications that support WMS on iOS and on Android. It's supported on private networks, low bandwidth networks, public internet, everywhere. So anywhere WMS is supported as well. It integrates directly in with other image servers. It integrates in with ArcGIS server. So if you want to serve compressed imagery, MrSID, inside of ArcGIS server, then that's available to you as well. In fact, there's been rumors that compressed imagery is difficult to serve and it's slower and things like that. Well, Express Server 9 blows all of that talk out of the water there, because serving compressed imagery has never been faster. And it's really the fastest solution to serve compressed imagery. It'll make serving compressed imagery easy to do. Even if you're using ArcGIS server, you can integrate it in right with that and make it faster for your compressed image collection and use it in combination with that. and it's very fast. So just to give you an example here, this is a web application, ExpressZip. It's brand new with Express Server. I can turn on like the state of Washington, for example, there from my image collection. I can zoom to this, and it zooms right in. And this application behaves like you'd expect it to. You're used to having these web applications like Google Maps and things like that, and you can either draw a box to zoom in here. You can double click to zoom in, and you'll see the tiles pop in. And I'm sure over WebEx there's a little bit of a delay, but you can actually go online at demo.lizardtech.com and test this out for yourself. So I'm going to paste this into the chat room right there. This link right here, demo.lizardtech.com:8080/ExpressZip. This is where the demonstration ExpressZip application is stored. We've got tons of data on here. We've got multiple states. We have large cities, counties from all over the nation and really all over the world online here. And I'm going to zoom right into Stadium of Champions here. Super Bowl champions, Seahawks, CenturyLink Field. That's where the earthquakes start after people like Marshawn Lynch, beast mode, score touchdowns. Okay, but enough of that. Quickly, Express Server can get you anywhere you want to go real fast. It serves up, we've got terabytes of data on this server and tons of users constantly accessing the server. It doesn't matter how many users are accessing the server. It doesn't matter how much data you have. Express Server is going to serve it up real quick. And let me show you what's on the back end here. This is our administration website. Our administration website looks like this. You can add new catalogs simply by hitting this plus button here. You browse your network. So if I browse on my network here and I look and see what do I want to serve here, I got a image folder here. Let's say I want to serve up, gosh, I don't know, the state of Colorado. I have all the Colorado collection there, or Paris or something like that. I can just add it here, and it adds my new catalog, and I've got a list of catalogs on here. Everything from state of Idaho, state of Washington, Oregon. We've got DC data on here. And all of that stuff, as soon as I add it, is going to be available, ready to serve right away. I don't have to do anything to prepare it. I don't have to load it into a database. I don't have to mess with it. It's all compressed MrSID imagery. And in fact, if we look in these folders here, let me just show you. Like, let's look, for example, in this DC folder. Look at this. This is just thousands of MrSID files. I can scroll all the way down here, and it's MrSID files all the way down. Just thousands of them. And they all get mosaicked on the fly. And if need be, they get reprojected on the fly. So if I'm looking at the whole world here and I choose DC and I want to zoom into DC, DC is going to get reprojected on the fly for me. Even though it's in a different source projection, it's going to be put into lat long here. So there's Express Server for you. It mosaics on the fly. It reprojects on the fly. It's a fast way to view your your large image collection, your compressed image collection, terabytes of imagery. It doesn't matter. It's easy to set up. You just tell it where the imagery is. It does the rest. It'll mosaic on the fly, reproject on the fly, serve to any application. Real simple setup. This is the administration website. You can add and delete catalogs at will, publish or keep it on the back end. With the new ExpressZip application, you can export regions of interest. So, for example, if I say, okay, I want to take this data here and I want to export just the area around the capital there. I think that's the capital. I can zoom in and make sure, but somewhere around there, yeah, that's the capital area. I can select that region of interest, give it a job name, and export it all. I can choose my format options, like if I wanted to have it in JPEG format, if I wanted to package it up as a zip or a tar, I can choose the resolution I want. Do I want this to be at full resolution, native resolution? If so, it'll tile it up for me and zip it all up so that it fits into the file formats there. And that's a nice, because this is full resolution imagery here. I'm looking at a very high level, but I can zoom all the way in here. It is full resolution imagery. Just take a look there. Try it out for yourself at demo.lizardtech.com. You can even download a trial of ExpressServer as well as GeoExpress and try that out, installing it on your web server and setting up your own image catalogs with your MrSID files or your JPEG 2000 files and see how it works for your data set. It's fast, it's flexible, integrates with other image servers like ArcGIS Server, another powerful image server. And so you're going to have a lot of options here, especially with the new ExpressZip option, helping you download stuff. I'll just submit this job, and it gets queued up. And when it's done, it lets me know where to download it. It'll give me a place to download that. So let's move on real quick. Don't want to keep everybody too long, but that's ExpressServer 9 in a nutshell. And it all integrates together. GeoExpress produces MrSID JPEG 2000. It stores it on the file system, or you can send it directly to ExpressServer. From within GeoExpress, you can hit a Publish to ExpressServer button and publish that imagery right away, which makes it out and available to all different kinds of applications, web applications, ArcMap, AutoCAD, ArcGIS Server, Image Server, MicroStation, WMS clients, web clients, things like that. So it's all integrated. And with that, let's jump into LIDAR Compressor. I won't spend too much time, but LIDAR Compressor basically allows you to compress unlimited point cloud data to MrSID. It makes it so that you have suddenly very efficient point clouds. You maybe used to have large amounts of data that was split up into multiple last grids, last tiles, stuff like that. But you can convert multiple last files, mosaic them all into one MG4, unlimited size. So you combine all your last grids into one efficient MG4 file. And then after it's compressed, you have direct access to that point cloud. You don't need to decompress. It's not a zip file. MG4 is usable in all sorts of LIDAR applications, including Esri's products, ArcMap, Intergraph, AirDOS, Intergraph, Merrick's Mars, LP360, Global Mapper, LIDAR Analyst, just a few that support MG4 LIDAR directly. And if you have older versions of ArcMap, for example, we have plugins that allow you to use MG4 LIDAR directly in those applications as well. So it gives you about somewhere between 12 to 16 times smaller LIDAR file size. So you're going to get 25% of the original file size. You're going to get a nice compression and then be able to throw that new compressed file directly into any application and have it actually perform and behave faster because the points are indexed as they're going into MG4. So you're panning and zooming this LIDAR data very quickly, viewing it, accessing the points so that you can work with them, extracting points, things like that. Very, very quickly. It's very efficient. And that's pretty much all there is to LIDAR Compressor. It basically just compresses LAS or text files down to an MG4 LIDAR file and then lets you use that inside of any application. So here's a little screenshot of LIDAR Compressor kind of viewing a point cloud there. You load the files in, you convert them to SID, and then, of course, you can begin to use those MG4 files out there. There was a question in the chat that I noticed that asked, are you able to serve LIDAR using ExpressServer? And at this time, no, the LIDAR data is not servable using ExpressServer. ExpressServer right now is focused on the image side of things. So MG4 imagery, whether that's multispectral or hyperbanded imagery, you can serve that, but as for LIDAR, not yet. We are probably going to come up with something in the future, but but just not right now. So that is LIDAR Compressor. And finally, before we go here, just want to point out that we have services available. We do site visits. We do a lot of demonstrations, installation, and training. And I'm sure, Laura, you could talk more about that, what's available, what we're doing, and
I definitely would be happy to. From the website, there are downloads for demos, which are the full product for each of the products. And we're happy to come on site for site visits and installation and obviously for training. I think that happens fairly regularly. So let us know how we can support you in your efforts.
No, really, everybody, just please feel free to contact us anytime. I'm going to open it up for questions now. If you do have questions, it might be beneficial just to go ahead and put those in the chat feature of WebEx rather than opening up all the phone lines. Wouldn't want everyone just talking over each other. But if you could just put your questions in the chat there. Looks like Jeff Young is on the line. Now, Jeff, you had a comment or question? Jeff works here at LizardTech with us in the Denver office. I've opened up your phone line.
I'm sorry, Bobby. I was just suggesting that you describe our viewers and some of our mobile capability, because that really extends the format widely. Thank you.
It's true, yeah. Thanks for pointing that out, Jeff. Yeah, we have GeoViewer, which is a free viewer you can download at lizardtech.com. And it lets you view anything: imagery, WMS feeds from servers, LIDAR data, vector data, all sorts of stuff. I'll just quickly bring up GeoViewer because I have it open here so that you can see. Now, GeoViewer is also available on mobile as well. So if you have an iPhone or an Android device, you can download LizardTech's GeoViewer on that device and look at WMS. You can look at MrSID imagery directly. You can save MrSID imagery on your device and look at it offline. If you're not connected to any kind of network at all, it doesn't matter. So let me just add a layer here just to kind of show you. Since I didn't really go into LIDAR much, I'll just pull up this Mount St. Helens data here. So here's some LIDAR data. You can view it in 3D in GeoViewer. This is GeoViewer, fully just really great viewing tool for all sorts of data. And here I can, kind of orbit around all of the data. Since it's in MG4 LIDAR, it's really fast to draw and refresh because it's indexed all those points. MG4 is very efficient, very lightweight. It's still very powerful. It contains all my data. In this particular case, it was, let's take a look. Number of points, about 5.8 million. 5784. The file size, let's see, the file size used to be, well, let's take a look. I don't know if I can get all of the beforehand stuff, but it's like 8 megabytes, something like that, and it used to be 100 and something megabytes. This particular file was like compressed 12 to 1 or something like that. It's 12 times smaller. But this is GeoViewer, and it's just it's our free viewer. Again, you can download this online at lizardtech.com, and yeah. And I have a question from Emily. She says, "Can you query any point properties of the LIDAR in the viewer?" And in GeoViewer, we don't have anything like that, where you can query the point properties individually. But on some of these other viewers, like if you go and you have the LIDAR tools that you're already using where you can query points, if it supports MG4, you can do that in your software. So, for example, like in Esri or Intergraph, something like that, you'd be able to query the points the same way you would. Our SDK, software development kit, offers that ability to any software application to be able to query points and get point information from those index points. So are there other questions? I'm going to put our contact information on the screen again. This is Laura's contact information. She's LRAMAGE at lizardtech.com. Her office number is there, 207-869-5279. This is if you're in the eastern region, basically anything kind of east of like Iowa. So like Wisconsin, Illinois, Arkansas, Louisiana are all included in that eastern territory. Anything east of that as well. If you're in like Missouri, Iowa, Minnesota, anything west of that, you would want to speak with Jeannie Hayes. And if you're in Canada, you'd also want to speak to Jeannie Hayes. If you're a federal user, whether you're a civil government federal user or military federal user, Terry Ryan or Ryan Burley, their email address is up on the screen. And of course, if you need to see any of these again, just please let me know. And again, demos of all of our software are online, lizardtech.com. Let's see. Oh, and Laura has pointed out that she has Eastern Canada. So if you're in Eastern Canada, give Laura a contact. If you're not sure, just give Laura a contact here and she'll sort you out there. Any other questions here before we go forward and try out some demos? I highly encourage you to download the new demo of Express Server 9. It's a fantastic product. Try out ExpressZip. If you want to try it without installing the demo or anything like that, you can go to the link I put in the chat there, demo.lizardtech.com, 8080 ExpressZip. That's available for you to try out right now. And if you need customer references or if you want to try out some customer WMS sites, we can provide links for that as well. There's a lot of customers that put their WMS out there publicly and they want people to access that and use it. So let us know and we'll give you some links. Other than that, really appreciate everybody coming out and joining this presentation today. Hope you all have a great week and look forward to talking to you in the future.
Thank you, Robert.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you all for joining. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Laura. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.